Hello students, welcome back to our video. So in the last video we completed with the revision of the first chapter. So now let's start with the revision of the second chapter, that is Business Services 1. You learn in the second chapter about the insurance, postal services, go down or warehouse and the transportation services. So now let's discuss all the points in a brief. So insurance, first is insurance. So meaning of insurance. Insurance refers to the written contract or agreement between the two parties through which the insurer pays premium and is against getting an undertaking from the insurer that he will be compensated as per the risk covered and the amount decided for the financial loss. So insurance contract in a written form is known as insurance policy, and insurance does not remove the risk involved, but it compensates for the financial loss caused by that risk. Now let's see the principles of insurance. There are four principles of insurance. First one is principle of utmost good faith. It means that the main objective of the insurance contract is not making the profit, but it is only to have compensation for the financial loss. So the main motive of insurance contract is not making profit, but is to have compensate for the financial loss. So the basic law of insurance is a social concept. So as such, the parties involved in the insurance contract should have mutual and complete faith on each other. So both insurance should have complete faith on the insurer, and insurers should have the complete faith on the insuree. So both the parties should have a complete faith on each other while entering into the contract of the insurance. Next principle is principle of indemnity. It means that insurance contract is made compensate for the loss incurred by the insuree. So the main objective of insurance is the principle of indemnity. So this principle is to use to decide how much the insurance company will have to pay to the insuree in the event of the loss incurred. So in the principle of indemnity, this principle is used to decide how much insurance company will have to pay to the insuree at the time of the financial loss. So if an insurance take like a policy for a product at a lower value than the original value, then it means that he will be proportionately get a lesser amount, and a part of the loss will have to be borne by him. So for the amount, whichever amount insurer takes the insurance from the insurance company, only that much amount will pay. That much amount will be paid by the insurance company at the time of loss. So that is the principle of indemnity. Third principle is principle of insurable interest. It means that the insuree must have a financial interest in the product insured. For example, the owner of the house has financial interest in a house, while a tenant of the house does not have a financial interest. Tenant means the person who is living on the rented house. So the owner of the house has the financial interest, where the person who is living in the rented house does not have the financial interest. So the principle of insurable interest, that the insuree must have a financial interest in the product insured. Then fourth is principle of subrogation. It means that when a policy is taken for an insurable product, and if it is fully damaged, and when the insurance company pays the compensation, the fully damaged product's ownership will be within the insurance company. This principle is not applicable in the case of life insurance. It means that principle of subrogation means when a policy is taken, insurance policy is taken, whatever product is insurable and if it is fully damaged, and when the insurance company pays the compensation, that it means that the fully damaged product ownership is with the insurance company, not with the insuree who has taken the insurance. The fully ownership would be in the hands of the insurance company. But this principle is not applicable in the case of life insurance. So these were the 4 principles of insurance. Now let's see the types of insurance. So there are 2 types of insurance: life insurance and general insurance. Under life insurance, it includes whole life insurance and endowment insurance. And in general insurance, again it is divided into 3 types: goods transportation insurance, fire insurance, and other general insurance. And under goods transportation insurance, it includes marine insurance, air insurance, rail and road insurance. And in the other general insurance, it includes the insurance against the loss, health insurance, insurance against the theft, animal insurance, group insurance, sports insurance, vehicle insurance, third party insurance, credit insurance, insurance of the loyalty against fraud, accident insurance, insurance against natural calamities, employees compensation insurance, employees compensation insurance. So these are the types of insurance. As I have discussed all the types of insurance in a very detailed manner, I am not going to discuss again. So you have to remember the types of insurance and their meaning. So now let's move straight away to the postal services. And yes, please go through the privatization of insurance and Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority, IRDA. So now next topic is postal services. Postal services means plays an important role in the written information and communication. It is essential to pass on information from one place to another speedily and without interruption. So that's why postal services is invented. So the same services can be available through private postal services, or we can say that courier services or Angadya too, to individuals and business units. So you are very familiar with the postal services, and there are around more than 150,000 post offices in India. Out of it, almost 90% are set up in the rural areas, and it provides following services. So let's see the services provided by the postal services. So first one is general post or letters. So in this, information and communication can be sent through postcard, inland letter covers, etc. Nowadays, rarely this general post and letters is used due to the invention of the internet and mobile phones. Second services provided by postal services is registered post. It means that postal department provides services of registered post. Such posts are delivered by the postal department, for which the charges are more than the general postal communication. So if the sender of the post requires a proof in the form of a signature of the receiver, then some extra charge will have to be paid. Then the third service provided by postal services is parcel services. So all the products other than those prohibited by the law can be sent in the form of parcel form from one place to another. Then next is value payable post, VPP. It means that imperial services VPP is more popular. Value payable post. Any product or seller on the receiving an order for the product sends a parcel through the postal department, and the receiver of the parcel pays the parcel charges and also the price, which is pre-decided, to the postal department, which is in return is passed on to the sender. So that is known as value payable post. So the parcel company directly parcels through postal department, and the receiver pays the parcel charges, and the proof is sent it to the sender. That is known as value payable post. Then that is next is speed post or parcel. So in this, the postal department guarantees to deliver the post or parcel within a stipulated time within the places decided in India. That is speed post or parcel, and the charges are also higher for the speed post than the general post and parcel, and it can also be insured if required. So one can also take the insurance for the speed post or parcel if they require. Then next is express parcel. So in this service is available for both individual and as well as for the business units. In express parcel is sent very speedily within the prescribed time limit, and the fees for this express parcel is even higher than the speed post. The next service provided by postal office is saving services. It means that postal department, just like banks, provide various type of savings schemes services like savings account, 5-year recurring deposit, term deposit, monthly income plan, senior citizen savings certificate, 15-year public provident fund. These all are also provided by the postal services. Just like bank, post office also provides savings account can also be opened, for which the checkbook is given, and now there is the facility of ATM card too. Next is recurring deposit. It means that according to this scheme, the account holder has to pay the amount as decided on or before the pre-decided date to the post office. So at the end of the 5 years, when the account matures, the entire principal amount along with the interest will be received by the account holder. That is known as recurring deposit. Then next is term deposit. Term deposit is like fixed deposit schemes available in the post offices. As per the scheme, accounts can be opened for the duration of 1, 2, 3 or 5 years for ₹200, or in its multiple. Interest calculation is done every 3 months, but the amount of interest is paid on yearly basis. That is known as term deposit. Then next service is provided by postal office is National Savings Certificate, NSC. It means that those who want to invest in NSC will have to purchase it from the post office. The duration of this savings certificate is 5 to 10 years, and the information of interest rate is given in advance. So at the end of the maturity period of 5 or 10 years, the amount can be claimed by fulfilling the required formalities from any post office. Then next is Kisan Vikas Patra, KVP. So this means that the depositor in Kisan Vikas Patra gets double the invested amount after 100 months. That means 8 years and 4 months. So whatever amount is deposited, that gets better. That gets double after 11 months. That is 8 years and 4 months under the Kisan Vikas Patra. This certificate is available only for the prescribed amount, and after the maturity date, the amount can be claimed by fulfilling the required formalities from any post office. The next scheme is Public Provident Fund. So in this scheme, any individual can open an account in Public Provident Fund scheme, and the period of this account is 15 years. And the minimum amount to be paid in this account is 500 per annum, or we can say 500 per year. So after 15 years, under the prevailing rules, the duration of this account can be extended by 5 years every time, and this account cannot be closed before 15 years. Next is postal insurance. It means that prior to independence of India, as a part of welfare scheme, postal insurance was started. So all the employees of central government, state government and other semi-government organizations are eligible for this insurance. So there are different types of policies under the postal insurance schemes. So the silent feature of this postal insurance are the lowest premium with the maximum bonus. The next scheme is monthly income scheme. Under this scheme, This scheme is useful for those investors who require interest income on a monthly basis. So under this scheme, individual or joint account can be opened. In this account can be opened for the period of 5 years. As per the requirement, this account can be transferred from one post office to the another. And if needed, the depositor can also withdraw money based on the certain terms and conditions after the 1 year. And next is money order. So money order is an arrangement to send the money from one place to another through post office. So for these services, post office charges commission, and the receiver of the money will have to sign a receipt which will be sent to the sender. So the post office has started instant money order by using online technology, through which amount to the extent of rupees 1,000 to 15,000, 50,000 can be sent to any part of India within a day through money order. So when a sender reaches post office and after paying money and commission, immediately a secret number in a sealed envelope is given to him. So the sender gives that secret number to the receiver. So when the receiver represents that photo ID and secret number, he can receive money from any designated post office. So that is known as money order. And other related services includes like purchases and sale of foreign currency, traveler's check in foreign currency, debit card in foreign currency, draft in foreign currency, mutual fund, investment agency, services for various schemes of Government of India as an agent, banking services, depositing pension money in the service savings account of pensioners, railway ticket booking, etc. So these are the following services provided by the postal offices. Now next topic is go down or we can say warehouse. So we would be continuing this in the next video, and if you have any questions or any doubt, please feel free to comment below the video. Thank you.